This person is the savior of this world. And this person is a completely normal NPC who ends up killing that savior. The same savior who, in the future, was supposed to destroy the entire world. But because the main hero of the story dies, now this NPC is the one who has to save the world. And during this journey, he will also have to bang the girls who were originally meant to fall for the hero. Oh, sorry, not bang, he has to protect them. So all of this started 3 years ago. Our protagonist, Corin Locke, wakes up from his sleep. As soon as he looks outside his room window, the scene in front of him shocks him for a moment. But soon after, he realizes something unbelievable. He is inside the game Heroic Legend of Arhan, the same game he was just playing a while ago. Heroic Legend of Arhan is a game based on Deadly Academy monster incidents and countless endless events. And in the end, this world always meets total destruction. But coming back to Corin, he isn't worried at all, because he knows that the hero of this game will eventually save the world. And Corin himself? He's just a level 1 NPC, someone the protagonist will save during a rescue mission. Still, Corin is genuinely happy in this world. It doesn't feel fake at all. So Corin decides that he should find the protagonist of this world, Park Sihu, because in the future, this guy is destined to become insanely powerful and ridiculously rich. Sticking with him would clearly be the smart move. And surprisingly, Corin meets Park Sihu almost immediately. But Sihu is asking for sweet potatoes and Sprite. Hearing these modern food names completely confuses Corin, because nothing like this ever existed in the game. At the same time, Sihu is muttering to himself that he's going to live only for himself. The next moment, Corin grabs his hand and says, "Me too." And just like that, Corin realizes it. Sihu is also a transmigrator, someone who came from the same world as him. Later on, during a battle, Sihu kills a dragon with a magic attack. As a reward, he receives a status window, something every game protagonist has. The problem? Sihu has no idea how to use it. Corin guides him, telling him to focus on intelligence stats if he wants to become a mage. He reassures Sihu, saying that he's a pro player who knows all the routes and skills. As long as Sihu stays with him, there's nothing to worry about. But while Corin is confidently saying all this, a monster suddenly attacks him from behind. Before Corin can even react, Sihu kills it in a single attack. And like this, Corin and Sihu keep killing monsters together. Through endless battles, 3 years pass. Now Corin and Sihu are sitting among piles of monster corpses. To help Corin recover, Sihu gives him an elixir. Corin accepts it and starts drinking. But as he drinks, his eyes drift toward their party members, and every single one of them is male. Corin absolutely hates this, because the game is full of amazing female characters you can even date, but Sihu only ever recruited women temporarily when absolutely necessary. In the end, only the guys stayed in the party, and just looking at them makes Corin feel grossed out. Still, one thing keeps bothering Corin. In these 3 years, the game's story hasn't followed the original plot at all. Some main characters died for unknown reasons, some disappeared, and some never even appeared in the story. It takes Corin a while to realize the truth. Sihu is the reason behind all of it. Then Corin notices a staff placed in front of him and freezes in shock. That staff belongs to the main heroine of the game. And the place where it's kept, it's Park Sihu's underground inventory, which Corin has just discovered. Inside are items belonging to main characters who either died or never appeared in the story. But Corin is most shocked when he looks at a container. Inside lies the body of the game's heroine, Mariette Dunalev. As Corin desperately tries to process what's happening, Sihu appears behind him and asks what he's doing there. Corin fires back immediately, asking why the main heroine is here when Sihu had claimed she ran away. Sihu casually responds that it doesn't matter. She was a demon anyway, and he couldn't let her blood go to waste, so he used it to create an elixir. The same elixir Corin just drank. Hearing this, Corin goes completely numb. Sihu continues, saying how much effort it took to capture her, setting traps in the forest for an entire month. Corin completely loses it and demands to know why he did all this. Sihu replies coldly. He wanted to finish the game faster. Korin's paths were frustrating, always risking his own life to save others, getting tangled in friendships instead of manipulating people and using them efficiently. So Sihu did what had to be done, because he understands this game better than Korin ever did. Korin stands there in disbelief. He always thought Sihu was a noob player, but turns out he was a hardcore pro. Korin asks how many people Sihu has killed so far. Sihu answers calmly, "Only 3 more, and his count will reach 100,000. That's when Korin completely snaps. He grabs Sihu by the collar and starts cursing at him. Sihu says they were just NPCs, and Korin has killed many people too. But Korin yells back that those were evil people who deserved to die. Not listening anymore, Korin starts punching Sihu, asking why he stole other players' items when he's just a mage. Sihu laughs darkly and tells him that this has gone far enough. He grabs Korin's head and slams it into the container behind him. Blood starts dripping from Korin's head. Looking straight at him, Sihu says that Korin is driving him crazy. After everything he's done for him, Korin should not talk like this. He should understand that Sihu is his everything, his whole world. But Korin is completely confused, unable to understand what Sihu is trying to say. Suddenly, Korin runs away in fear, shouting that Sihu isn't someone who likes men and asking why he's trying to change so suddenly. Sihu replies with a terrifying look, saying he did all this for their future. Korin asks if that's why their party was only men. Sihu answers that they were just decorations. The only one he loves is Korin. Hearing this, Korin punches Sihu in the face and runs for his life, thinking how insanely dangerous this man is, and he hasn't even had a girlfriend yet. He needs to get out before something worse happens. But before he can escape, Sihu traps Korin with a magic attack and tells him that he can't run away. In this fake world, Korin is the only real thing. Korin is completely terrified. Sihu says that once the final battle ends, everything will be fine. With that, he leaves for the final battle. Korin is sealed inside another dimension. He knows Sihu will defeat the final boss, but he's even more afraid of what will happen to him after that. Then suddenly a system message appears. Park Sihu has died in the final battle. Challenge failed. The next moment, Korin is sent back to the exact same point from 3 years ago, where it all began. This time, he's filled with fear and burning rage. And now, Korin makes a decision. This time, he won't let Park Sihu live. After this, Korin remembers an incident from his past life. Back then, he and Sihu were on a monster subjugation mission. But during the mission, a dam suddenly collapsed. Because of that collapse, all the people in the area, along with the monsters, drowned in the water. At that time, Korin noticed something strange. Sihu was smiling while watching that scene. Back then, Korin thought Sihu was just in shock, but now he understands the truth. Sihu wasn't shocked, he was happy. Because whether it was normal people or monsters, their deaths still gave him experience points. Now, Korin knows exactly what kind of disgusting human being Sihu really is. And this time, Korin is confident he can stop him. Because right now, both of them are at the same level. Korin has only one goal. Park Sihu must not reach Mercabe Academy. That academy is the one place where Sihu will grow overwhelmingly strong. The academy entrance is still 5 days away, so Korin sets out to stop him before that happens. On the way, Korin notices some mushrooms growing along the path. He picks them up and takes them with him. Now the scene shifts to a forest. 2 knights have just defeated a monster. They thank a man who helped them. That man is none other than Park Sihu. Suddenly, an old voice calls out saying the carriage repairs are complete and they can now leave. But the moment they start heading toward the carriage, someone attacks them from behind. Luckily, the knights barely dodge the attack. But the moment they see their attacker, their faces go pale. It's a rank 2 werewolf. The werewolf takes its stance, preparing to attack again. At that exact moment, Korin arrives at the scene. But even after arriving, Korin freezes because the werewolf kills the female knight right in front of him. Korin thinks that if he had arrived just a little earlier, he might have been able to save her. Now, only one knight remains. That surviving knight orders Sihu to run away, but Sihu instead tells the carriage driver to leave without him, saying he'll catch up later. Inside the carriage, a girl desperately tells Sihu to come with them, but Sihu refuses, claiming that he needs to help the knight. Before anything else can happen, the werewolf kills the remaining knight as well. Now the monster turns its attention towards Sihu, ready to tear him apart. Coming back to Korin, he wants to confirm something. First, is this the good Park Sihu, the hero who will save the world? Or is this the same player from his past life who came from another world? At first, Sihu looks scared after seeing the monster, but soon he steels himself and prepares to fight. The girl from the carriage attacks the werewolf to protect Sihu, but the werewolf easily blocks her attack and throws her backward. Sihu then starts explaining who she is. She belongs to one of the game's most famous noble families, the Argan family. She is their second daughter. She wields Odachi, one of the 6 king's swords. She is also one of the game's main female leads, Alicia Arden. The same Alicia Arden whom Park Sihu killed in his previous life. And now he is trying to do the same thing again. Sihu pulls out a poisonous dagger from his pocket and stabs her from behind. Seeing this, Korin finally confirms it. This is the same Park Sihu from his past life. Alicia doesn't suffer a fatal wound from the dagger itself. She turns to Sihu and asks why he did this. Sihu calmly lies, saying that he was scared and attacked her by mistake. But the poison from the dagger slowly begins to take effect. The werewolf attacks Alicia again. She barely manages to block its attacks. At the same time, Sihu is thinking to himself that she should have died already, but because she's a famous game character, she's still alive. Alicia somehow calms herself, takes a proper sword stance, and charges at the monster. Sihu panics. He's afraid that if Alicia kills the monster, he won't get the experience points. So he throws the dagger at her again. This time, Alicia dodges the attack and immediately realizes the truth. The first attack was not an accident, it was intentional. Because of this distraction, the werewolf nearly bites off Alicia's head. But just before that happens, Alicia drives her sword straight into the monster's head, killing it. However, because of the poison, Alicia is now on the verge of death. Sihu walks up to her and takes her Odachi sword. He's thrilled that he's finally obtained it. But to use this sword properly, he needs a special skill, which can only be acquired through experience points. So Sihu decides that he will kill Alicia and gain those points. Just as Sihu is about to attack her, Korin throws a pouch of golden powder at him. The powder spreads all over Sihu. Enraged, Sihu starts screaming, asking who the hell did this and telling them to come out. But instead of Korin, a group of rabbit monsters suddenly attack Sihu. Then, Korin explains that this powder was made from the mushrooms he picked up earlier. These mushrooms are the favorite food of the forest monsters. Because of the scent of this powder, the monsters mistake Sihu for food and attack him. Using this opportunity, Korin pulls Alicia to the side. Seeing that she's still alive fills him with relief. Korin tries to pull one of the monster's fangs out using his dagger, but at that moment, Sihu appears behind him and demands to know who he is. Korin casually responds, saying that Sihu killed all the monsters within 1 minute, and the Odachi must be an incredible sword. But the moment Korin stands up, Sihu recognizes him. Then Sihu asks Korin what he's doing there. From Sihu's words alone, Korin immediately realizes something. This idiot doesn't have any memories of his past life. So Korin decides to mess with him. He warns Sihu not to hold his sword so recklessly, or he might end up cutting his own hand. And Sihu actually falls for it. Seeing that opening, Korin throws dirt straight into Sihu's eyes. Blinded, Sihu starts swinging his sword wildly just to protect himself. Korin knows one thing very clearly. Sihu is physically stronger than him. So this time, Korin is ready to put everything into this fight. The next moment, Korin attacks using the werewolf's fang, but Sihu dodges it. Korin then tries to slash Sihu's neck with the fang, just to keep him distracted. And the moment he gets an opening, Korin strikes with the dagger hidden in his other hand, stabbing Sihu in the shoulder. Sihu is injured. Using this chance, Korin attacks again with the fang in his hand. But surprisingly, Sihu blocks the attack with just one hand. Still, Korin refuses to give up. With all his strength, he drives the fang straight into Sihu's throat. Game over. In the end, Korin thanks Sihu, because it was because of him that Korin managed to become this strong. And he feels no regret at all, because what he killed was not a human anymore, but a monster who would have taken countless lives in the future. Just then, the system displays a status message. Park Sihu has been killed. Based on the current situation, the system designates Korin as the sub-player of this world. At the same time, all of Sihu's accumulated experience points are transferred to Korin. Seeing the system screen, Korin wonders if he'll finally get his own stat window. But before he can think further, he hears Alicia's voice behind him. She's on the verge of death due to the poison. Korin rushes to her side and asks if she's okay. Alicia says she can't see anything. Hearing that, Korin feels a bit relieved. At least she can still speak. After that, Korin asks her about her symptoms to identify the poison. Once all the symptoms are confirmed, Korin understands exactly which poison it is. But because a werewolf thing is still embedded in Alicia's stomach, she's losing far too much blood. So Korin decides to remove the fang first and detoxify the wound. He takes off the belt around his waist and tightly binds her body to slow the bleeding. To stop Alicia from biting off her own tongue from the pain, Korin places Sihu's hand into her mouth and tells her to bite down on it, because the pain is going to be intense. Then Korin starts pulling the fang out of her body. While doing this, he questions why it was he who was sent 3 years back in time. But at the same time, he's glad. He killed a monster and saved an innocent person who was killed by Sihu in his past life. Korin successfully removes the fang from Alicia's body. Now, he begins preparing the antidote for the poison. He gives her some courage, telling her not to give up. People don't die that easily. Alicia asks for Korin's name. Korin places a water-soaked cloth on her forehead and tells her she doesn't need to know. He suggests that she sleep for now and says he'll wake her once the antidote is ready. After that, Korin starts analyzing everything that has happened so far. This game is called Heroic Legend of Arhan. Just from the name itself, it's clear that a hero is meant to rise, solving incidents and accidents at the academy, growing stronger, and eventually defeating the villains and the final boss to save the world. In his past life, Park Sihu followed the story because if he didn't, the final boss would have destroyed the world. But in this life, Korin killed Sihu before the story even began, which means the role of this world's hero now falls onto Korin's shoulders. However, there's one thing that really pisses him off. The system refuses to give him a stat window like Park Sihu had. Poor Korin was actually excited, thinking he'd finally get his own stat screen. But knowing future events alone isn't enough to save the world. So Korin decides to rely on things outside the system. Because of his past life experience, he's no longer just an NPC. To test this, he uses a skill he learned in his past life. And, surprisingly, it works. Korin then explains the skill he mastered in his past life: rune magic. Runes are ancient letters that contain magic power within themselves. Rune magic operates on 3 commandments: duty, restraint, and oath. These commandments can turn a normal human into a superhuman or completely destroy the world. That's why Korin applies them to his own body to gain extra power. The first commandment is duty. If a person makes a promise to themselves and keeps it, the commandment grants extra power. But because it's relatively easy, it doesn't increase stats by much. So Korin makes a promise that he intends to follow until the end of his life. He vows that he will never hesitate to help good people in trouble. The system accepts this. A chain appears around Korin's heart. If he breaks this vow, he will lose 10 stat points. The second commandment is restraint. Because of this, Korin can no longer see spirits. In this game, ghosts and spirits do exist. But since Korin can't see them anymore, they can't harm him either. The final commandment is oath. Korin explains that this commandment carries extreme risk. That's why neither he nor Park Sihu used it in their past lives. But even with the system, Park Sihu still lost to the final boss. So this time, Korin isn't afraid to use it. He takes an oath that he will save this world. With that, all the commandments lock into Korin's heart, and if Korin ever fails to uphold these commandments, they will take his life. Then we see Alicia slowly waking up from her sleep. The moment she tries to get up, a sharp pain shoots through her body, making it difficult for her to move. Seeing her awake, the nurse standing beside the bed feels genuinely relieved. Alicia asks where she is, and the nurse tells her that she's in Merkaba City Hospital. After that, Alicia asks about Korin, but the nurse replies that he already left a long time ago. That answer visibly saddens Alicia. The nurse quickly tells her not to move too much and to rest properly. Soon, Alicia's eyes fall on her belongings placed nearby. Among them is Korin's belt. She picks it up and stares at it silently, her expression turning serious. Suddenly, she calls out to the nurse standing beside her. The nurse flinches in surprise. Alicia seriously asks if there's a place nearby where she can get honey bomb candy. At first, the nurse looks completely confused. Then, she gently tells Alicia that for now, she can only eat stew. Finally, the day of Merkaba Academy's entrance ceremony arrives. Korin is about to enter the academy when he searches for his entry pass. That's when he finds a letter from his mother inside his pocket. As he reads it, his emotions quietly overflow. He remembers the time when he first arrived in this world. Back then, he was afraid of everyone around him, but his family accepted him exactly as he was, and slowly, Korin began to love them back. That was the biggest difference between him and Sihu. Next, we see the Academy's train station, crowded with students searching for their assigned trains. Suddenly, a girl calls everyone to gather around. She is Mariette Dunalef, one of the female leads of this game. She meets Korin, casually compliments him, and then, unexpectedly, offers him a potato. After that, she leads the students on a tour of the academy, explaining its facilities along the way. During this, Korin reveals that Mariette is a first-class second-year mage of Merkaba Academy. But more importantly, she's also the final boss of the first act of this game. Once the tour ends, Mariette wishes everyone good luck and leaves. Now we see the interior of Merkaba Academy. Inside a large room, all the students are gathered. Everyone is terrified, except Korin. In the very next moment, the students start floating into the air. Still, Korin remains completely calm. He explains that since ancient times, people of this world have been fighting an evil tribe. The most effective weapons in that war were superhumans, those who could use aura and mana. Merkaba Academy exists to train exactly those kinds of warriors. Then, a man addresses the students and introduces himself as Professor Fermac Damon, their training instructor. When Korin sees Fermac, he looks genuinely pleased. After delivering a long speech, Fermac distributes the students' ranks. Korin is ranked 6th. His mana and abilities are evaluated as low. Seeing this, Korin isn't very happy. Fermac orders everyone to line up according to their ranks. With a devilish smile, he wishes them good luck. In the next instant, all the students are teleported away. We see students ranked 1st and 2nd, where a yellow-haired instructor refuses to even measure their test results. Among the 2nd-ranked students are Alicia Arden, the granddaughter of the sword genius, Yahello, Avallowen's druid, Dronzer, a mercenary skilled in sword control, and Kranaludin, a golem sorcerer. The first rank has only one student, Haran, the heavenly Yaksha. Seeing her, the yellow-haired instructor is visibly shocked. She didn't expect Haran to be here this year. Next, we see the man in charge of the test complaining that there's no point in testing 6th-rank students. He even considers removing them from the test. But suddenly, the yellow-haired instructor threatens him from behind. She reminds him that the director ordered every student to be tested. Terrified, he immediately begins the 6th-rank test. As the test starts, a weapon case drops in front of Korin. An announcement follows. Monsters will start appearing in 30 seconds, so choose your weapon. Korin explains that more than half the students probably chose swords, just like he did in his past life. As monsters begin appearing behind him, Korin calmly says, "It takes 100 days to learn a spear, 1,000 days to master a blade, but 10,000 days to truly master a sword." That's why he chooses the spear. The moment he attacks, one monster is killed in a single strike. The monster beside it freezes in fear. Without stopping, Korin slaughters all the monsters within a minute. Absolute domination. After killing all the monsters, Korin slowly pulls his spear out of the last monster's body. It took him only 12 seconds to wipe them all out. For a moment, he recalls his past life, a time when he couldn't even kill a single hound. But this time is different. This time, he will kill them all. Korin waits for the next monster to appear. 1 minute passes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but nothing happens. That's when Korin starts feeling uneasy, wondering if there's some kind of malfunction in the system. Meanwhile, we shift to the instructor monitoring the test. He's clearly unhappy with the students' performances. When he was their age, he finished all the monsters in under a minute, so seeing even the 5th-ranked students perform so poorly irritates him. And because of that, he assumes the 6th-ranked students won't amount to anything. But when his eyes fall on Korin's screen, he freezes. Korin has already killed all the monsters and is calmly resting. The instructor assumes the monsters must not have been summoned properly for Korin. Calling it a bug, he sends the same hounds again and moves on to check the other students. But once again, Korin wipes them all out within a minute. Later, the instructor hears an announcement saying someone cleared the test in 7 minutes. He smiles, thinking at least someone decent exists. But when he looks back at Korin's screen, Korin is resting again. This time, the instructor is completely shocked. He becomes convinced something is wrong with the system and asks a fellow instructor to check it. After checking, the other instructor says the system hasn't malfunctioned even once in the last 20 years, but the first instructor refuses to accept it. In his mind, a 6th-ranked student like Korin should have been eliminated long ago. That's when the other instructor asks a simple question. Did you actually confirm whether monsters were summoned or not? Seeing his expression, he immediately realizes the answer is no. So once again, they send the same hounds toward Korin. At this point, Korin is visibly irritated. Without wasting a second, he throws 3 spears at once, killing all the hounds in just 7.3 seconds. Seeing this killing speed, both instructors are left speechless. One of them asks Furmak how long the 3rd and 4th-ranked students took to clear the hounds. Furmak replies that a boy named Jaeger took 3 minutes and 30 seconds. When Furmak asks why he's asking, the instructor avoids the question. Instead, he sends a 4th-rank boar toward Korin. Korin kills it in just 3.7 seconds. Next, they summon a 3rd-rank monster, an owl bear. This time, the fight is tougher, but Korin activates his rune magic, Kanaz. The owl bear is instantly engulfed in flames. Seeing rune magic, even Furmak is slightly surprised. However, the attack doesn't deal enough damage. The owlbear counterattacks. Korin blocks the strike, climbs onto the owlbear's head, and finishes it with a decisive blow. The assistant instructor is stunned. A mere 6th-rank student just killed a 3rd-rank monster. Now, he eagerly waits to see Korin fight an evil spirit. In the next moment, a 5th-rank evil spirit appears before Korin. Korin can feel something in front of him, but due to the restraint commandment, he can't see the spirit. And because of the same commandment, the spirit can't harm him either. After counting 1 full minute, Korin realizes he can't fight it, so he calmly withdraws from the match. Later, Korin stands before the instructor, expecting some kind of scolding, but the instructor is still too shocked by Korin's performance to say anything. After that, all the students gathered to check their results. That's when Korin notices a boy standing proudly with his chest puffed out. It's Jaeger Hinchpeter, an NPC from the game. In Korin's past life, Jaeger provoked Sihu far too much, and Sihu erased him completely. Nearby, Korin notices another boy named Lark, who's being mocked because despite being 5th rank, he failed to kill even one monster. In the past life, Lark also provoked Sihu and met the same fate. Suddenly, a powerful voice grabs everyone's attention. It's the Academy Director, Irio Kasar. He congratulates all the students for today's performance and assures them that the professors will always support them. After finishing his motivational speech, the students disperse. Then we focus on Jaeger, who notices Lark quietly reading a book in a corner. Jaeger walks up to him and asks him about his rank in a threatening tone. Lark is clearly intimidated. At that moment, Korin notices what's happening. To stop it, Korin walks up behind Jaeger and places his hand on his shoulder. He asks about Jaeger's tattoo and casually compliments it. Jaeger is instantly impressed and proudly explains his mother made it. She's a tattoo artist. Smiling, Korin asks if he has more tattoos like that on his body. That's when Korin recalls a memory from his past life, Jaeger's mother desperately searching for him after he went missing. That tattoo wasn't for show, it was made for Jaeger's safety. Back in the present, Jaeger happily shows all his tattoos to Korin. They exchange names. Then Korin asks the boy sitting beside him his name, Lark. Just like that, the three slowly start talking and become friends. From a distance, Alicia watches everything. She's happy to see how Korin saved Lark from being bullied. To her, Korin looks like a genuinely good person. And Korin himself feels satisfied, knowing he left a good impression on Lark, because in the future, he plans to use him. Meanwhile, Alicia is simply mesmerized by Korin's smile. A terrifying smile, yet incredibly charming.